The reason that they do not want the flag, the reason you do not.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Is due to its origins with slavery.
Slavery? What the heck does the Gadsden flag have to do with slavery? What's up, guys? Welcome back to Red Top Report. I'm your host, Joe Enders, and Ronan's got something for me to react to today. Apparently, a poor little schoolboy was being harassed for having the Gadsden flag patch on his backpack.
That's right. I won't tell you about it. Let's just watch the video.
All right, let's check it out.
Oh, here you go, bud. Thank you.
Do they know what the Gadsden flag is? That it's an historical flag?
So the reason that they do not want the flag, the reason you do not.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Is due to its origins with slavery.
Slavery? The heck does the Gadsden flag have to do with slavery? If anybody knows anything about the Gadsden flag, it was a flag flown during the Revolutionary War. And just to provide a little bit of context on it, I actually looked this up just to double check and make sure that I was right. But it says right here, the Gadsden flag goes back to the time of the Revolutionary War. The flag's roots are not in slavery or the slave trade, but instead in the Revolutionary War. It was used by Essex Hopkins, the country's first naval commander-in-chief during the Revolutionary War. And that's all according to the Encyclopedia Britannica. So if you can go ahead and cite for me how, and I've actually looked their responses up to this too. They say that it's rooted in slavery because the government they supported believed in slavery. Newsflash, almost every country on earth at the time still had the institution of slavery at the founding of the United States. There were a few Catholic nations that were ahead of the game, but for the most part, slavery was permitted almost globally at the time of the Gadsden flag. So are we not allowed to have any other flags up there? And what about the African flags that may have existed at that time? Are you going to tell black people that they can't fly the flags of their countries, like Africans can't fly the flags of their countries on the backs of their things because those countries supported slavery? What a ridiculous concept. Ronan?
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't really understand what the hate around the Gadsden flag is. I mean, I've always loved it. And yeah, it's like you said, I always have to tell people the history behind it because it's like people think it's like some, I don't even know, white supremacist, I hate blacks flag or something. It's like that has nothing to do with it.
I feel bad for black people. Like how could they possibly go through their lives in America when the left is telling them that like every single like item around them is like actually a symbol of hatred of them? Like I would think everybody hated me if that were the case. Like they can't even look at like Aunt Jemima syrup without anything, or Uncle Ben is the other one, I think. I mean, they have all these images of black people. Those are racist. And then now we have all these movies that are racist, like old cartoons are racist, so you shouldn't watch those either because they're hateful. Disney movies are racist. You can't watch those. Like, what isn't racist? They can't partake in culture at all whatsoever unless they're watching something created by an androgynous black Muslim lesbian. It's kind of a problem. Okay, so you can continue with the video.
And slave trade. That is what was, that's the reasoning behind them. No,
The Gadsden flag.
the don't tread on me.
The mom is so
Which
done.
is the Gadsden flag. Okay, so he's what's going to happen if he doesn't take it off?
He is able to go. I was actually just telling him, like, I was upset that he was missing so much school. I'm like, so I asked if can he just take his stuff out of his bag and go back to class. Like, I just want him to go back to class. The bag can't go back. It's got a patch on it because we can't have that in and around other kids.
They say we can't have this in or around other kids. How much you want to bet this school is like a Pride Month thing where there's like people draped in like the rainbow flag and they're like, you know, there's like gay pornography in like in the school library at this place. I mean, public schools are such a joke now. Honestly, if you're a Christian in any capacity, I almost would argue that it's child abuse for you to send your child to a public school. All that's going to happen there is they're going to be groomed into either, you know, fornicating, you know, with heterosexual sex, or being encouraged to partake in sodomy, in gay sex, and doing all these other forms of degenerate sexual behavior. I mean, that's what they're teaching in schools. And in many cases, like, they will force your kid to take sex ed classes in certain states in the United States. And that's the type of danger that you're looking at here. You know, in some states, parents can opt out, but they're trying to push to get rid of all those safeguards. And the other thing is that, like, with transgenderism itself, they're trying to say that the kids can start getting care or treatment or speak to counselors about transgenderism without the counselor consulting their parents. That's insane. Your parents need to consent to the child being taken home from school or going to the school, period. It's completely insane what's happening to our public schools. And this is her attitude. She has a problem with, like, a revolutionary flag that's like with a snake on it. And I don't even really like the Gadsden flag or what it stands for, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'll explain why a little bit later, but let's continue.
Close. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with slavery. That's like the Revolutionary War patch that was displayed when they were fighting the British. Like, that's the revolution. Maybe you're thinking of, like, the Confederate flag.
Okay, I am
Is there a
just
history
here
to
to
it on your
enforce.
tongue? And-
No, I am here to enforce the policy that was provided by the district. And definitely, you have every right to not agree with it. I mean,
You have every right to not agree with it, but, you know, even though you're the parent and you decide the values that your child grows up with, the word of the state that I work for, my overseer, is going to tell you to basically buzz off and do what we say. So this is the America that we're living in right now. And this America that we're living in is partially due to what the Gadsden flag itself actually stands for, which is this: don't tread on me. I'm this free man. I'm this free individual. And, you know, the problem with that is when you recognize yourself as an individual, which is, you know, people are individuals. I'm not saying that that isn't the case. But when you recognize people as individuals and you actually build your civilization off of what is best for the individual, you often run into this problem, because all of society gears towards cultivating individuals to what they perceive as the best destination for that specific individual. Now, for a short period of time, for maybe about 150 years in the United States, that was getting married, having a family, raising kids, and things like that. But now that it's shifted, which is specifically because of this value of individualism that we have, because that has shifted, the family is no longer that operating as that first cell of society. Education itself is geared towards cultivating an individual to do something like make money or to do things that make him feel good and do all those other things. All of this goes back to this highlighting of the individual as the building block of society, when in reality, the building block of society is families, and everything should be geared towards cultivating families. So, for example, you have classes, instead of teaching kids, you know, teaching kids like math, science, reading, all those other things, you'd have kids being taught things like, I don't know, parenting. I don't know, doing your taxes. I don't know, how to function in a society with a family. That sort of stuff you're not getting in schools. Practical education on how to live your life, how to live your life with a family. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have reading, writing, and math, but that should also obviously be in addition to all of those other aspects of education. But instead, we have sex education, so we can have people, you know, learning how to be gay, or learning how to fornicate, or learning how to use contraception. So when you look at everything and from that perspective, it's incredibly dangerous. And I don't even need to hear anything else about this video, Ronan. I mean, we can just take it down at this point. We know what's happening. The districts have taken control of our children, and they're trying to say that they are the ones who are going to tell them what they learn, and that parents no longer have that responsibility. I think we need a lot more school board protests and stuff and stuff like that. You know, things like we saw in Loudoun County, where, you know, there was basically just parents busting down the door saying, we're not going to stand for this. I don't really have anything else to say about that, though, Ron. I mean, that's pretty much it for this episode. So, guys, you got to follow us on Instagram. You got to follow us on Twitter. And you need to subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Yeah, you got to do that, guys. I'm serious. And once you do subscribe to the channel, there's only one more thing you need to do. You need to give us your money.
Kindly send 300,000 American dollars immediately.
And you can give us your money by going to buymeacoffee.com. That is buymeacoffee.com. You can do a single donation, or you can do a monthly Joe for Joe donation. Highly recommend that, for only $5. $8 a month. And with that said, guys, that's all we got for this episode. God bless.